Yeah, Tilly, beautiful.
Name that song.
Too much pudding in the grits?
Close. It's You Are My Flower by Mother Maybelle Carter.
Oh,
My flower. You know that song? That's old, man. It's 120 years old.
sing it for us.
That's not. I can't sing it in that key. I only know the first 4 words.
Make it a chorus.
Guitar. This here's a guitar. The reason we're going to do this on a guitar instead of on a piano is because I don't play the piano very good. You know? It's easier to see this on a piano than on anything else because it's all right there. All the white keys and all the black keys. But we're going to use a guitar. We're going to play like it's a piano though. We're going to go to C note, which on the piano is right there in the middle. It's about 34 inches from that side and about 34 inches from that side of the keyboard. Right in the middle, C. Here's a C on the guitar. Now what you got, the reason that we study music theory is because it's not that you're studying the theory of music. It is that you're studying how music that sounds good. Because you can tell whether something sounds good or bad. And the bad and stuff that sounds bad doesn't last for long because it sounds bad. Stuff that sounds good has lasted for 400, 500 years from the time of Bach on through Mozart and Beethoven and Taylor Swift, which is the ultimate, you know, top of the... You got Frank Zappa, then you have Taylor Swift. She is the logical ascension from Frank Zappa in the pantheon of musical experience. And who knows what's going to come after her. C, if you play a major scale, that's on a piano, that's on a guitar, that's a major scale. There's a whole step, there's a whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and then there's a half step. So the distance between 1 and 2 is a whole step, between 2 and 3 is a whole step, 3 and 4 is a half step, 4 and 5 is a whole step, 5 and 6 is a whole step, 6 and 7 is a whole step, 7 and 8 is a half step. That's a major scale. And we all know what a major scale is supposed to sound like because of the sound of music. Do, and so forth. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, instead of playing here, which is how you do it on a piano, on a guitar you can do the same thing by going. Makes it easier. Alright? So now, that's the scale. Now, chords are based on the notes in the scale. So, the 1 chord is a chord that's based on the first note of the scale. So, here's the first note. Now, if you take it, what you do is you go 1, 3, 5. There's always, in a chord, it's called a triad. In a chord, there's a root, a third, and a fifth. Those are the simplest of all chords. That came about about the same time that perspective came about in the art world, around 400, 500, 600, 500 so years ago, is when they started making chords. Before that, they would take a note and play its fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. But they had not thought about the third. About the time that the Renaissance artists started using perspective in their art is about the time that Bach's immediate predecessors started using the thirds in chords. And so, who knows, that was a shift of the whole zeitgeist of the entire human spirit that started seeing 3 dimensions instead of 2 dimensions. And they started hearing 3 dimensions instead of 2 dimensions. It turns out, so it's a natural phenomenon, these thirds and fifths. Fifths are for sure, because the fifth is a component of the vibration of the root. Now the third isn't necessarily so much so, but it's there nonetheless. That's why it was hidden for the first, say, 8,500 years of the smart part of humanity in the last 10,000 years, when we started, worrying about other stuff besides survival. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now if you go 1, 3, 5, she says, doe a deer. That was her, she was saying doe a deer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 5. There's a chord. 1, 3, 5. It's the 1 chord, because it's built off the first scale step. On a guitar, you can throw another 1 in there and another 3 in there and have a big old fat 1 chord. Or you can throw another 5 down below it and have a great big C chord. But the C chord just contains those 3 notes, and they're the 1, 3, 5 of the C scale. And they are C, E, and G, are the names of the notes. Now, that's the 1 chord. Now what you do is you take your scale and you start with the 2 and you go 2, 4, 6. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6. That's a hard chord to play. That's the 2, 4, 6. D, F, A. But you can play it here. There's D, there's an A, there's a D, there's an F. And that is the 2 chord in the key of C. It happens to be a D minor chord. Now, what we do is we extrapolate from the verity of the first thing that I said. And we're always going to go back to the truth of what I said, which is, we know how a major scale is supposed to sound. It's always going to sound like... It's always going to sound like, always. You can put here, it's always going to sound like that. The 1 chord is major. The 2 chord is not major. It's minor. The reason, here's a major chord. Here's a minor chord. It's minor. You can tell the difference between a major chord and a minor chord by listening to it. There's a major chord. It's a happy chord. It's pellucid. It's clear as it can be. Especially if the guitar were into it. A minor chord, if you hear a minor chord all by itself, you're very tempted to sing, "Once there was a boy," aren't you? Once there was a boy. You're not tempted to do that with a major chord. You're tempted to do something else. But if you hear a chord like this, "Once there was a boy," when you're tempted to sing that against a chord, it makes it a minor chord. Always. That's how you tell a minor chord from a major chord. That's the 2 chord in the key of C. The 1 chord is a C chord. It's a happy chord. It's clear. Here's the 2 chord. It's once was a boy. Yes, it's a minor chord. Now we go to the 3, and that would be 1, 2, 3. It'd be 3, 5, 7. 3, 5, 7, because you skip one. There's a triad. It's called a triad. It's a 1 and a 3 of the 5 of the chord. If you start with the 3, it's 3, 5, 7. Put those 3 and the 5 on the piano. You just take that same thing and you go up. It's easy, easy, easy. On a guitar, it's not so much. But we discovered that that minor D chord looked like this until I figured out an easier way to play it. If I just go up 2, that would be the 3 chord. Well, there's one. I'm going 3, 5, 7. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 5, 7. Okay. Those notes happen to be E, G, B. I can put another B down here, and I can throw a big old fat E down below it, and I can put another E on top, and make a great big old 3 chord. That's the 3 chord. It has those 3 notes in it, the 3, the 5, the 7 of the scale. Now here's an E major chord. Clear, pellucid. Clear is the midday sky. E minor. Once there was a boy. See? Once. Okay, so the 3 chord's a minor chord. We start extrapolating. See? 1 chords are major. 2 chords are minor. 3 chords are minor. If it's true here, it's true. If you're in the key of C sharp, the 1 chord is C sharp major. The 4 chord is what? The 2 chord is D sharp minor. The 3 chord is E sharp minor. And so forth. 1. Okay, now the 4 chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 4 chord is spelled 4, 6, 8. 4, 6, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 6, 8. There it is. It's a 4 chord. There's an F. It's an F chord. You can put another F here. Put another F, A, C, F, A, C, F. Put another C down here. Put another F right there. You have a great big fat 4 chord. It happens to be the F chord because we're in the key of C. And F is the 4th note in the scale of C. That's 4. That's 4. There's 4. There's 4s all over the place. But that's why this is harder on a guitar than it is on a piano, because there's various ways to play the same note. On a piano there's not. But I'm a guitar player, not a piano player. The 4 chord is F. It's a major chord. See? It's a happy chord. It's clear. If it was minor, once there was a boy. But it's not. It's major. Huh? So the 1 chord is major, the 2 chords minor, the 3 chords minor, the 4 chords major. Okay. What's the 5 chord? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, G, that's the 1 of the chord. The 5 chord is spelled 5, 7, 9. I'll go 5, 7, 9, which is the same as 2, except for it's an octave above 2. There's only 7 notes in the scale that repeats itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, same note. So the 5 chord is spelled 5, 7, 9. Okay, 5, 7, 9. That's not enough notes. Let's see. G, B, D, G, B, D. So it's G. Throw another G here. Here, let's do it. G, B. Where's a D? There's a D. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. There's a 5 chord. There's a B here. Let's put another B there. There's a G. Let's put another G there. There we go. There's a 5 chord. It's major. It's a happy chord. It's clear as the blue sky at midday. Hear that? There's nothing sad about that chord. There's nothing gloomy. If it were minor, for one thing, it'd be very hard to play. And And you'd be tempted to say, once there was a boy. But the 5 chord's major. There's a 5 chord. 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A. That's an A note. C, D, E, F, G, A. 6. 6, 8, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6, 8, 10. A, C, E. A, C, E. There's another E. There's another A. There's another E. Okay, the sixth chord in the key of C is A minor. Has that once there was a boy. Aha. So it's a minor chord. Right? If it were A major, see, it doesn't have that feeling about it. There it is. A minor is the 6th chord in the key of C. A minor is the 6th chord in the key of C. It's spelled 6, 8, 10. It goes 6, 8, 10 of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6, 8, 10. You're always skipping one. It's always evens and odds, 6, 8, 10. The 7th chord, which is a chord that we don't use in our music hardly ever anymore. This is a chord that's endemic to the scale because it's spelled 7, 9, 11, but it's the chord that we very, very rarely use. But if you want to know what it is, it's built on the 7th scale step and it goes 7, 9, 11. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. B, D, F. B, D, F natural. There's a B, D, F. It's a minor chord. It's a double minor. B, D, F. See how I'm confused because we just don't do this very much because we don't play the 7th chord. It's a component of the 5 chord. The 5 chord spells 5, 7, 9. The 7th chord spelled 5, 7, or 7, 9, 11. What we do play in its place is a 5 chord with a 7th on the top of the 5 chord. In other words, you get this chord, which is a G7th chord. It's a B diminished chord. It's the chord in question. But that's a diminished 7th. See, I don't even know. Nobody plays it. Nobody plays it. The 7th chord in our music is usually an altered chord that has nothing to do with the scale. Forget about the 7th chord. Okay. That's enough of that. All right. So you can buy you a chord book and learn how to play all the chords between page 1 and page 35. You can do that, you know. And you can take page 1 and play the 2nd chord of that, then take page 5 and page 9 and throw together a chord progression and write it down and play it. And it will not sound good. It will sound bad because they don't conform to this little deal that Bach started back in Bach's day with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now if we were all Hindus from India, it would be different because our ears would be attuned differently. They have a different scale they use. They don't even use all the whole steps and half steps that we use. They use quarter tones and stuff. And so their ears don't hear what our ears hear. But ever since we were born, ever since our great ancestors from the Germans and the Austrians back in Bach's day, we all base what we think sounds good on and now I'm confused. And then that can't sound bad. You can but now you can go from the 1 chord to any other chord in the sequence and back to the 1 chord, and it's always will sound good. You can go from any weird chord. Here's a a 3. Fine. 3. How about going from 2 to 6? Okay. A little dark, but it's still fine. Doesn't sound bad. It can't sound bad. But for things to sound really, really good, they have to move in the interval of a fourth. Now, for them to sound really good, they have to move in the interval of a fourth. A fourth is the distance between 1 and 4, or 2 and 5, or 3 and 6, or 5 and 8, which is the same as 1. Now, if I went from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, okay, there that is. Well, that's C to F, and that cannot sound bad. Now, if I went from 1 to the 5, that's that. That cannot sound bad. The distance between 5 and 8 is the same as the distance between 1 and 4. So if the 1 chord goes to the 4 chord, the 5 chord goes back to the 1 chord. They're both the exact same relationships to each other. The 1 chord goes to the 4 chord, like the 5 chord goes to the 1 chord. That's the interval of a fourth. The difference between the interval of a fifth and the interval of a fourth is the same. It depends on which way you're looking. If you go down a fourth, you go from C to G. If you go up a fourth, you go from C to F. If you go down a fourth from F, you go to C. If you go down a fourth from G, you go to the 2 chord. But if you go up a fourth from G to C, that G goes to C. So the 1 and the 4 and the 5 chords are a little family in the key of 1. And they cannot possibly sound bad. Now if you go from 5 to 4, it doesn't sound bad either because we're so used to hearing it. Now Bach didn't do that. Bach never went from 5 to 4 because that's the interval of a second. And he always went in intervals of a fourth. And for the most part, we always go in intervals of a fourth also. But we've gotten so attuned to hearing that now, ever since the song that created the modern chord progression, which is Louie Louie. Okay? Okay. That's 1, 4, 5, 4. Up until Louie Louie, our ears weren't attuned to hear the 5 chord going to the 4 chord. But since Louie Louie, we are. So Louie Louie is the song that started the modern tradition of popular music. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that Louie Louie is the seminal song of the 20th century. You know, you can have your Cage, you can have your Zappa, you know, you can have your Frank Sinatra, but you have to have Louie Louie right in there with all that. It's the seminal song. It's 1 5 1 4 5 4 1 4 5 4. If you know Louie Louie, you know Hang On Sloopy. Hang on Sloopy, Sloopy, hang on. Right? You know Little Latin Loopy Loo. And so forth. I might have diverted. Did I get off? Did I divert? Now, the relationship of a fourth is the most important relationship in all of music. The 4 to the 1. Well, if you go to the 2 and you go up a fourth from there, you go 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. The 2. A fourth up from there is a 5. And a fourth up from there is the 1. So if I go from the 1 chord to the 2 chord And you can go from the 1 chord to anywhere. If I go from the 1 chord to the 2 chord and go for 4th, you go for 4th. You have this progression. That sounds fine. What in the world's wrong with that? Nothing. How about if I go from the 3 chord to the 6 chord? 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 4th. There's a 3. There's a 3. And where's the 6? Okay. 3, 6. I'm sorry. What did I say? 3, 1, 3, 6. Sounds fine. It's going up a 4th. If 1 goes to 4, 5 goes to 1, 2 goes to, what did I say, 6? And no, 2 goes to 5. 2 goes to 5, 1, those are intervals of a 4th. And so forth. Everything inside the scale works that way. And you can, and then you have all the chord progressions for all the songs that Crosby, Stills, and Nash did and America did. And that's staying within the absolute parameters of just do a deer, a female deer. Well, there you go. That's how that works. Got it. Are we still rolling?
Yes, sir.
All right, a major chord is a 1, 3, 5 of a major scale. A minor chord is a major chord with a flatted third. 1 flat 3, 5. In the key of C, a C chord is C, E, G. A C minor chord is C, E flat, G. There's a minor third followed by a major third. The distance between C and E is a major third. C, there's a whole step between C and D. There's a whole step between D and E. That's called a major third. A minor third is a step and a half. It's a whole step plus a half step. A major chord is a major third followed by a minor third. C to E, that's a major third. E to F to G is a minor third. Look, that's that distance. Here's a major third. Here's a minor third. Okay, so a major chord is 3 notes. The first 2 is a major third. The second 2 is a minor third. A minor chord is flipped. It's a minor third followed by a major third. So, if you want to know how to spell a D major chord, you for sure have to know how to spell a D minor chord because you know your C scale. And that's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So practice your C major scale and, say the notes. So a D chord is the 2 chord. D, F, A. All right, the D chord, the D minor chord is spelled D, F, A. Well, F, that's the third of the D chord, the D minor chord. That's minor. So to make it major, you turn the F into an F sharp. And you have a major chord. That's the difference. There's a minor, there's a major. The minor is once there was a boy. And the D major is not once, it's something else. It's clear, it's beautiful and sparkly. And so in a major key, the 1, the 4, the 5 chords are major chords. The 2, the 3, and the 6 chords are minor chords, always. If you change a major into a minor, you're going outside of the key. You can certainly do that, but know that you're going outside the key, and that when you do that, then other possibilities open up. You can turn the minor 3 to a major 3. Well, the major 3 chord could be the 5 chord of another chord altogether, A in this case. Now all of a sudden I'm playing in the key of A. I'm not in C anymore. I altered that 1 chord in the C scale, made it major. Now what if this chord is what if it's the 5 chord of something else? Well, what's the E, 5, F sharp, G sharp, A. Okay, go from 5 to 1, that's 4, that's a 4th. Oh, okay. You go to, I'm playing C, D minor. And that comes as no surprise. But bingo, you're in the key of A now instead of in the key of C. Huh. There you go. That's good. Okay, cool.
Play a little bit for me.
Six is an A minor. 3, 4, 5, 1 down to 6, 2, 5, 1.
Very beautiful.